All right, welcome to the Forge Coffee Break. This is the episode number 60. Thank you very much for joining today. And as usual, there's a very open space, general topics, whatever you're working with the Autodesk Platform Services, formerly Forge. And let me start with you. If you have any topics or projects that you are working on, anything that you want to share or questions, please start. And let me get the list of people here. Any interesting topics that you're working on?
Our group is
Hi,
Transmission.
Ricky.
Hi, Augusta. Yeah, I just wanted to bring up a question about maybe supporting being able to, first to give some context, our firm works with a lot of outside clients. So what our engineers do is they go on other clients' hubs. So when we don't actually have access to, they don't actually have access to our Forge application while they're on those other hubs, and we need to be able to request permission, but requesting permission from those other hubs. So it's just a whole process that we'd like to, that's just, you go through a lot of, you have to jump through a lot of hoops in terms of all that paperwork. And we're wondering if it was possible to support maybe just having a limited feature set when you're interacting with an external hub, so you don't need express permission, but you can still do things that a normal user would be able to do on something like BIM 360.
So I'm not sure if I'm following the question. To access someone else's hub in BIM 360 or ACC, you need two things, right? You need your application to be provisioned there, and you need to be a user of that account, a user under that account, sorry.
Yes.
But you're trying to do something different than that?
The question is that we have to interact with a lot of different external hubs, and getting permission and basically getting our application up on all of those hubs is a very involved process, and we don't really do too much with the full feature set of Forge on the external hubs regardless. So
but that can be solved as an integration now. Like, for example, if you submit your application as a ACC or BIM 360 integration, from the App Store, all the clients can basically install that integration. That basically will authorize your app to be part of each of the customer's account or hub. And then from there, each of the customers basically will log in with their credentials, which will give them access to their data itself. It's just because other than that, you're for what I understand is that you're asking for basically some sort of permission access to customer accounts without actually being part of it. And I don't think that's one, it's not possible. Two, I don't know if they will create something like that.
Yeah. So it's definitely not possible. And you definitely need permission from those accounts before accessing those accounts.
So Augusto, this is John Gurney. I work with Ricky.
Yes. Hi, John.
Hi. Our issue is that half of our projects are on internal hubs. So we're working on WSP hubs, and then half of our projects are sitting on external hubs. So we're developing tools for the internal hub, and we want to be able to use them on these external hubs, with architects that we work with. I seem to remember that at some point Jim Quancy talked about maybe, rather than having Forge have some other kind of interaction with projects they may be sitting on other hubs, rather than actually having to be installed on the entire hub. When we create these programs internally, we install them on our hub, and everyone has access to them in the company. So the problem for us is that our engineers are used to these tools internally and then can't use them externally quite as easily.
Yeah. So okay. So I think I'm getting somehow of the question right. So And that's an interesting point, right? How to use how to use apps across different hubs, right? So so the summary is that in order for your application to work on the other hub, the application needs to be allowed on that hub, right? There is no escape from that.
Correct.
And
For now.
Yes, but that will always be like that, right? We don't have any plans to change that because BIM 360 ACC is an enterprise level application, meaning that it needs the owner of the account to authorize the app before the app can actually be installed on the account, right? But what Jim mentioned is that we are working on a security accounts, which is a way for a better permission level, that once your application is added to that account, right, you can add an application to account, but not all projects, just this and that project, just a few projects, right? So that's the level of granularity that we are adding, that we are working to add, right? But it's still, you need to be added to the account, and then you can specify which projects the application will have access to. So that's what we're working on, this additional level of permissions for the application, but not a way to bypass that application to be added. The application needs to be added to the account.
Okay, by the account owner. So,
but by the account admin, whoever is the account admin, yeah,
right.
the permission, the account admin has the permission to add the application to the account.
Okay, thank you for
so
that.
That's what I was mentioning, the workflow of basically having that as an integration itself, because it can live within the App Store, and whoever is your customer, either being external, internal, or anything like that, they can add themselves just the app into their account, and that will basically give you the access. Well, it will give the access to the application, but not basically to every single, like, for example, Ricky's not going to be able to enter every single account just because it got added. It's more about the authenticated users within that account will have access to utilizing your integration in order to basically interact with their data.
Understood. And now this becomes a business question, because if we do that, I mean, we're making tools specifically for building systems engineers. So the architects that we're working with are probably not going to be that interested in it, except for the fact that we may ask them. But there may be lots of other building systems engineers out there who are on the store, say, hey, this is a kind of a cool thing, let's use this. And I don't know that our management would like helping out these other building systems firms with these tools. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm just trying to see. No.
Probably need some sort of kind of like a diagram of an architecture of what you guys actually are trying to access, because in that way we can probably there might be some missing points here. So if we can, like, we can always take a call after this and then just kind of like discuss a little bit more in level of what you guys are trying to achieve. And that way we can define, okay, yeah, this is the route, or no, this actually will not be possible, and we're not working on something like that. And then just kind of find an alternative in order to help you out with that. And then I see also a question on the meeting, basically saying, what about three-legged? Is that not on a user level? Yes, three-legged, it's basically user context authentication. Many clients will not be too happy with me. Exactly. Yeah, so that's the main thing, right? So three-legged basically guarantees that the user that is getting authenticated will have access to all the projects that this user actually has access to it. Other than that, it's not possible, and it's because we're respecting the user context authentication level.
And there are two levels there, right? So the user has access to the project, so the application that the user is using, right? But what we are getting from customers is that we need to restrict the application to only read, for instance, right? Although the user can read and write, the application can only read. So that level of control on the application. So that's what we are working on, but we don't have that yet. But still will be a second layer on top of the provision that you always have to do.
I mean, there's sort of one obvious problem, and I think that's what's being brought up with the WSP case, is that in order for you to be able to use that app that's installed on your hub, but have the app work on another hub, regardless of whether it's 3-legged, 2-legged, SSA, that other hub needs to have that app integration installed on that other hub in order for it to, in order for one account to be able to do the same processing on the other hub. And I think maybe that was kind of the point for the WSP case. We don't have a good solution for that, right? That's
what I'm saying about making it an integration and being available within the App Store for Vim 360 and ACC. So that way, whoever is the owner of that hub, if they want to use that solution, they can just go into that store, add that integration, and that's it.
Right.
It makes it easy, right?
But that's the point that WSP we're making, is that there's going to be some foreign companies with their own hubs that they'll need admin account access, and then suddenly there's a request from this other company that says you need to install this app, and that's gonna have a lot of friction. So there's no nice solution right now.
Yeah, but that would also be a friction if someone's app could just start using it on a different account, and then the account admin says, "Well, I didn't install it." It's like, what's going on?
No, exactly. You see my point, though. You've got these two use cases.
So I think we're trying to solve a problem that we don't have a solution yet. I think that could be something that John and Rick, if you'd like to schedule some time with our Vim 360 team, so they can get out some requirements from you, because we definitely don't have that today. Then we have to propose something new. Would that work?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we would like that.
I cannot guarantee that we can do it, but at least we can try to figure it out. Can you send me your email to aps.help@autodesk.com or my personal email, augustogonçalves@autodesk.com? Let me write this down here. And just briefly mention what is the idea. I'll try to find someone from the Vim 360 team or ACC team to discuss that with you, and get some requirements. And if that's possible, then they will try to work something. But we definitely don't have that today.
That would be great. I don't know if an external client came to us and said, could we install a Forge app on your hub? I think I would have a hard time evaluating that.
It's really permission, right? So I have to scope out what you want to do, and can definitely understand better.
Well, thank you for entertaining it at least this far, and we'll follow through and hopefully get some more FaceTime.
Cool.
And it's interesting to hear how you guys are using, I guess, the services. So thanks for that.
The engineers like this stuff and they're used to it, and then they get put on another project and you say, well, you can't use it, and they get, well, why not? They don't really. They will understand that, but why do you give me something that's so great and then tell me I can only use it half the time?
Yeah, it's so great, right? Yeah, that's true. Let me move to something else that we are working on, that just different topic here briefly. I think we did talk a few times about migration to DirectFast 3 approach. Jaime is our big expert there. But then I think early this month, we released a new feature in design automation, which is right here, that essentially, and I'm going to be very brief, right? Instead of passing the URL to a bucket, you just pass the bucket itself to the design automation, right? And you pass the access token, so our system can access that bucket directly using all the goodies, retry, partial upload, resumable upload. But you just have to specify the bucket. You don't have to worry about building the URL yourself. Just pass the bucket and the object, the token, as you did before, right? And we do everything else for you. So it's a helper with design automation, making our design automation and OSS work better together. So that was released early this month. I know
So
that
it's basically like a built-in logic inside of the design automation engine to avoid this kind of like, I would say, hectic steps that you need to take now with OSS when it comes to generating the pre-signed URLs, sending out the complete for the signed URLs and so on. And that's another reminder. If you are still on the old endpoints, I will say consider, please start migrating to it. We don't want to get to the point where we actually pull a plug on the endpoints and then we break your stuff. We want to make this transition smoothly. And there's a couple of things also with, if you're using signed resources, there is a query parameter in the signed resource. Basically, it's just uCDN equals true. This will give you a new value on the URL that guarantees that it's going directly to S3. So that will actually speed up as well your traffic when it comes to upload and download. And yeah, so there's benefit to this. So I'll say, please just keep working on that part of it. And if you have questions also, you can email me and can email as well the aps.help@autodesk.com.
So the CDN true is on the post signed URL. Where is it again?
Yeah, let me show you that.
I think that's the one here, right? So yeah, if you want to share, or I have it here as well.
Oh, you can share that.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's the one, right?
Yeah, correct. So if you scroll down, keep going. Yeah, so we have the query stream parameter that when you do use CDN value and then you make it equal true. If you scroll down, keep going.
Here, right?
Yes. Yes, this one.
Access.
Expand that last one, that show.
Number 4.
Yes, and then expand the response. Scroll down. The response in there. Yeah,
response.
yeah,
Yes, okay.
So you see that this new sign URL basically is going through the cdn.oss.api autodesk.com. And this is basically, it's guaranteeing that it's going to through the direct to S3 access instead of the old one that we're gonna be like retiring. So as of now, it's just because we don't want to make this a default yet to include the uCDN equals true in order to give you a chance to basically do the migration and not break your stuff. But I will say also, I wouldn't recommend you hard coding values for signed URLs as a response. So just use whatever you're getting back on a response.
Just to be re-say what you said, right? So when you get a signed URL, you get a URL like this, and the URL should be complete, so you don't have to rebuild that any time, right? But if you use CDN, if you don't use a CDN, then will be developer Autodesk. But if you use a CDN, will be the CDN approach, right? But the only thing that is changing is the value itself, not the response. So if you're using the signed URL attribute, then it doesn't change anything for you, right?
Yep.
Cool. And that's coming December 31st.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, you still have like
as of now, yes.
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 Yeah, we're not going to extend that longer. So please do. If you have any questions or if you need support, talk to us. We can work out with you. Have lots of samples, lots of documentation. So yeah.
And I will be also, if you're still in that list, which we do have a big list of people that are still on it, you'll be getting emails from me a little bit more often now. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you, Jaime. All right, any other questions or topics?
I can say one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have our last accelerator of the year. Actually, no. Well, we're still gonna have the Brazil one, but that one is kind of like Portuguese level. So we're gonna have, we had to push the date for the Dublin one, some logistic stuff that happened there. Basically, so we moved it to December 5th to the 9th. It is a hybrid event, but I will say if you are around the area, like of Dublin or anything like that, you want to come and join us for a couple of pints of Guinness, definitely do so. So yeah, so we're still taking proposals, so feel free to submit something. And then if you are in the Sao Paulo area, we're gonna have also one in December, the 12th to the 16th. Augusto is gonna be there as well, together with Joao. And for the first one of the year, we're gonna be doing San Francisco, January 30th to February 3rd. So that's gonna be the one kicking off the accelerators next year. So again, if you are in the area or you want to come and travel to a warmer place in January, I think San Francisco actually has one of the best weathers in January in the US, because if you go to summer in San Francisco, it's not very nice. I will say let's go somewhere else. But yeah, so I'll say consider it, come and join us, and then yeah, we can work together on that.
Yeah, so in São Paulo, you are also having a Data Days event as well, right? So combined with the accelerator. All right, yeah, lots of things going on, events, chances to meet, and Dublin, São Paulo, and San Francisco. That looks good.
Right,
Okay.
question, guys. We have 7 minutes.
Thanks, Simon.
Yeah.
Very good. People are very shy this week, so let's see. We have lots of stuff going on, but I know it's always good to hear from you what you're working on.
I can't say anything much now, guys, but and ladies as well in the room, I see. We're finally testing out the extraction of data to a separate database and then comparing that to a client requirements database. So that's finally ongoing on my side. So looking forward to see some results for that. And be able to maybe share that with you guys later on.
Okay. When do you mean, when you say extracting from the model and comparing, is that
so
like model check?
When you have your model in the model viewer, right? I want to know, does the door have all the requirements as per my client spec? So I have a database where my client specs are living, and I've got the large model viewer. And I want to sort of be able to compare those two and sort of highlight, hey, these doors are not up to spec. These are missing attributes or other things. So that's a thing we're trying to achieve.
It's like a visual model check, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And
it's in between the comparison of the delta. So all that great work that you guys have done, we were trying to sort of combine that with let's say tangible client requirements as well now.
All right, cool. And so you said that you can share that soon. I mean, hopefully.
No, I say I hopefully can share that soon, because the guy who I'm developing it with, he's pushing, but we're both consulting to a client, so we need to have some permissions there as well. Cool. Maybe blur out some names.
Yeah, just if you wanna share here, I'm happy to do it. Just send me a message. A few days before, so I know that on that meeting you'll be sharing something, and I can reserve some time for you. Yeah, I would love to see what you are doing, right? So it's interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and like I typed in the chat as well. The same client also is. There's an architect who's hosting their ACC or Docs environment, but the client's in there. It's the Deutsche Bahn. I can disclose that, but I don't know the name. So it's a multi-billion-dollar project, and we are there. Others are there, and we wanted to just have a small connector for our information, so to push and pull from SharePoint to the ACC. Yeah, and like what was discussed at the beginning, it's not possible for us to install anything on this architect's Docs environment, because we would get access to, even if we do a three-legged, access to all their stuff, right? So there's a huge information leak risk there, right? And yeah, it's a bit silly that I would have access to everything that WSP, for instance, would have on their hub. So I think that's a puzzle you guys need to fix.
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, permissions it's important, and Beam 360 ACC it's takes good care of that, but you still have to improve some places. Yeah, but that's a good point, Edgar. Comes back to what John and Ricky were mentioning before, permissions, how to better handle that.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo that story from John there. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you. I think we're almost to the end of time. So, but there is maybe a chance for one last thing. Let me share with you briefly. Where is it? So, have you saw the? I mean, Edgar were mentioning about the data and how to do analysis, right? So this AC Cloud Information Model beta participation. One of the goals around that is about if you look here. Query design, data classification, the windows list all available, query across design. Yeah, so you filter a specific criteria and navigate hubs and properties. So you see if they have all the information you want. Some of those topics are somehow related to model check, properties check, but I'm not sure if are you participating on this beta?
No, I'm not, sorry.
Yeah, that could be something interesting for you, because if you're just looking for the metadata yeah, that could be interesting for you. At this point is really to understand what you want to do with the metadata, and yeah, but no, that's a beta. I think it's almost there, almost starting, so could be interesting if you want to if you're interested in providing feedback
to the guy I'm working with.
Augusto,
right. Yes.
would this be good for bill of quantities, the quantity of materials in the
yes, so quantity takeoff or quoting is somehow one of the topics here, but no, the topics are you. We want to hear from you what are the important things and data to extract from the model. So yes, I mean, if you would like to provide feedback and participate in the beta, yeah, I would like to hear from you. And yes, I think it's almost there. But yeah, no, quantity takeoff is definitely something that is applicable here.
Okay, yeah, we're very interested in quantity takeoffs and getting that information from the project.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we are almost at time. There is just one question from Jonathan. If there is a coffee break for other APIs. So the only one we have today is the APS Forge coffee break. But if you have specific questions like Revit API, you can always book some time on Calendly. And we haven't renamed this one yet, but Autodesk Forge. And I believe that there are a few people here that do understand about Revit. John Wu, he understands Revit, I believe. Who else is here? Mikako, she knows a lot as well. So you can definitely book some time with one of those to walk through Revit API questions.
Maybe,
Isan.
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Thank
Isan,
you.
where is he?
It was right there.
Yeah. Yeah, here.
I would say the easiest thing is just write on one of Jeremy's blogs as well. He loves answering questions, so why not, right?
All right, cool.
Yeah, I follow Jeremy's blog. You know,
don't be shy. Just basically write stuff on his comments.
Yeah, on a day-to-day, I've been, you know, the topic of unit testing has came up recently in his blog, and there's a bit of work that's been done by Speckle and is trying to figure out which path is you know has a probably lower entry level for me, for someone who's just starting on using unit testing and so on. But because it's so complicated when you have to do it within a hosted API, it's the Revit, it's a Revit plugin, you know, so it's not your typical unit testing that, you know, you test some mathematical question. It's a bit more complex. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I'll post something over there.
Yeah, post there because
Thanks.
I know him. He likes those kind of questions that later on become actually like blog post content as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He always is using the routes of if I'm spending time in answering this, it's definitely going on the blog. So I'll say, yeah, just post stuff there.
Yeah. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, Jaime. All right. Let me share again. So with that, we are just by the end of the time today. Thank you very much for joining. Next coffee breaks, the same link, same time, in 2 weeks, November 30th. And see you then. Thank you very much for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you.